So then we can start here to, then I can gradually part inside working more explains.
So now we're going to start on the sutra itself, and we'll start with explaining it.
We will start first Tibetan, then come back to English.
We are going to say this sutra together, first in Tibetan and then in English, and we're going to stop at the end of the second to last line on the first page. We're going to stop at the end of the second to last line on the first page. So we'll start with Tibetan.
Jana keto benshi junan to woloi Paketu de madang je patam je le namba trowe sun je do Chom den den go bo me tru pa la cha cha lo de ke da ge to pa tu chi na chom den den ye yo na ja po ja go me se shin che kong ga ra wa na yen du dang chan chu sen ba san bo dun bo me ba da dang da je du yu de me da la ma yin so je de ba chen bo se me pe chang yo so ko ro wa o. And then English, go back to.
In Chinese, Pa Chi Ku U Nan Tu Lo Ni Ching. In Tibetan, Duk Nao Dang Drip Pa Tam Che Le Nam Par Dro We Sung Ki Du. I prostrate to the Bhagavan Buddha, protector of Akshobhya. I have heard. At one time, the Bhagavan was dwelling in Shravasti in Jetavana Grove, the park of Anathapindada, together with countless hero disciples and bodhisattva mahasattvas, and also surrounded by an immeasurable assembly, great humans, asuras, and so on. At that time, amidst those assembled was the bodhisattva named Ornament of Inexpressible Quality, who arose from his seat and prostrated with his head at the feet of the Bhagavan.
Then again, the little bit more history, Akshobhya, how to become Akshobhya. You know, for our other religions, God's always God is there. But Buddhism, as all the Buddhas come from sentient beings. No sentient beings, no Buddha. See, that's the reason we have everybody, we have Buddha nature, opportunity, mind. But depends motivations, practice, diligence, and perseverance, or to wisdom. See, then become to Buddhahood. Otherwise, you no diligence, no wisdom, you cannot be Buddhahood. See, that's the reasons enough to. This Akshobhya also long time ago, also human beings. When you long time ago, Buddhas, this is, Buddha Shakyamuni is the fourth Buddha, but then passed already 3 Buddhas. Buddha Shakyamuni fourth. Long time ago, then the Buddha's teaching to India for summer summer retreat, always summer as 45 days retreat. That times the teachings to Shavakas, Prajaka Buddhas, Mahayanas, to monks, nuns, crowded teaching times. Then Buddha asked who's ready to commitment to help sentient beings. They are asking. Then one monk that's standing to two hands put together, bow down to the Buddha. Then I will be to help sentient beings. You know what we have to help? Then says, this moment enter I Buddhahood, I will never anger, never any hatred thoughts. So this, whatever result, I just benefit the beings. See, that's then have that monk, then later become to Akshobhya. See, that's so important to our, to commitments, our individual practice. So practice me, we are all expensive, I want to, for this alcoholic meat, I don't want to buy it this month. Or I want never to anger to other people don't like to me. That not that way. Any kinds do to benefit the beings. See, that's always motivate, important.
So here Lama is giving a short history of Akshobhya. Lama said some other religions believe that God is always there. It's not that way in Buddhism. In Buddhism, without sentient beings, there would not be Buddhas. There would not be Buddhas. And so, likewise, Akshobhya was a human being before he attained Buddhahood. And in the time of Buddha Shakyamuni was the fourth Buddha to come to us. After his enlightenment, it was traditional to have a 45-day summer retreat. This, of course, took place in India where Buddha lived. And during this retreat, Buddha would teach. One day he was teaching, and in the vast assembly before him were Shravakas, Prajeka Buddhas, nuns, and monks. It was a huge gathering. And Shakyamuni asked, who is ready to make a commitment to help sentient beings? And a monk stood up with his hands, his palms together, and he bowed down to the Buddha, and he said, I'm ready to do that. And the Buddha asked him, well, how are you going to do that? What is your plan, so to speak? That monk replied, from now until I reach enlightenment, I will not have any aggression or anger towards any sentient being with my body, speech, and mind. And so he made that strong commitment, and he kept that strong commitment, and that is how this monk became the Buddha Akshobhya. Lama is saying this is a story to illustrate to you why it's important for us to make commitments, whether it's I'm not going to drink any more alcohol or I'm going to stop smoking. Those are commitments. But we also, besides our commitments, have to have a motivation in which we say, I want to do this, I'm going to do this because I want to bring benefit to all sentient beings.
See, that's the reason for the motivation so pure and important. Motivation right, then everything is good. But motivation not right, do your body, speech, mind, so hard work, but not exactly works. Example, we like as Western, everybody has light, bulbs, what do you call them? Bulb. Bulbs are clean, then more bright. Then bulbs are not clean, dirty, then also we are not bright. So that's so our motivation like that. Motivation pure, then everything is so powerful.
So motivation is an important aspect of one's practice. Lama is saying that our motivation should be pure and good. Our motivation and our practice should involve all three, our body, our speech, and our mind. So these three need to work together with that motivation. For example, Lama's saying, in the West, we have light bulbs, and if you have a clean light bulb, then that light from that bulb will shine very brightly and strongly and directly. But if that bulb is obscured with dust or dirt, that light is not going to be able to shine as brightly. And so that is an example of the importance of one's motivation, that it should be pure and good.
Aggression means, our Western words, I think, aggressions for Western words, Sanskrit language.
No, aggression is an English word.
English words. I think another word is defilements. For them, anyway, for we call it ignorance. Ignorance means not blind, not dumb, not crippled, not color change. Blind means we look into happiness, but happiness cause how to do it. We don't know that. Cause to suffering cause as all negative thinkings, negative act physically, then negatively for harsh speech. She does, for defilement means for anger, jealous, proud, harsh words. See that, for physicals, verbals, mentals, they're all pure. That's for happiness. All negative thinkings, always body, speech, mind, then body be killing, stings, etc. And the speech be harsh words, and the mind be always negative thinkings. See, that's be for suffering cause. See, that's the reasons to ignorant means. See, that's we learned now, we have learned. Learn means then today learn, tomorrow remember, day after tomorrow remember. Every day we use. See, that's what practice means.
So Lama is expanding here on what Akshobhya vowed. He vowed not to have anger or aggression towards sentient beings from that moment until he reached enlightenment. So Lama's talking a little bit further here about aggression and about the word aggression. And he used then the word in its place of defilements. And defilements are states of mind such as anger, jealousy, pride. There are also defilements of the body like killing, stealing, and there are defilements or aggression of the mind, wishing harm on others, and so forth. So some of you may know these as the 10 non-virtuous actions of body, speech, and mind. And Lama is saying we might know what these are and not follow them. That is ignorance. And so Lama is saying here we are today, we're able to hear these teachings of the Buddha, and the practice is really taking these teachings of the Buddha and incorporating them into our lives every day.
See, that's so when you today receiving lesson to hear, then tomorrow remember, day after tomorrow remember, then you have it.
So if you hear these teachings today, or remember now what the 10 non-virtuous actions of body, speech, and mind are, then he said, to remember them and to practice them every day, and then it will become easier because it will just become a habit.
So then easy to understand the body is the 3, speech is the 4, mind is the 3, that's the 2 number as the 10. Then you read books, the books each wants the explanation to 1 or 2, 3 pages, each 1 to 2, 3 pages. So this all remember, hard to remember. But just body is 3, speech is 4, mind is 3, that's number remembers, then you have to keep to remember easy.
There are 3 of the body, 4 of speech, and 3 of the mind. And it would be difficult for us if we had to read 3 or 4 pages of explanation on each one of these. But it is easy for us to remember what these are if we just think there are 10 of them, 3 of the body, 4 of the speech, and 3 of the mind.
See, that's anywhere, but I can go Tibetan last line.
In Tibetan, starting at the bottom of the first page through the second to last line of the second page. In Tibetan, and then we'll say it in English?
Yeah, later.
And then we will say it in English. So in the Tibetan that we just read is a phrase, lekso, lekso. Lama's pointing out this phrase, explaining that it means excellent, excellent, and the Bhagavan was saying that. We'll find out when we read the English what he requested. So at the top of the second page in English, with palms together and with respect, he said to the Bhagavan, Bhagavan, at present this world system, boundless sentient beings are engaging in various sorts of wrongdoing under the influence of the causes and conditions of kleshas, and thus will fall into hell, preta, or animal realms, or else will experience the various severe forms of suffering of deva and human rebirth. I request you to teach a method to thoroughly liberate them out of compassion and affection. He said thus, and the Bhagavan replied, Child of noble family, excellent, excellent. It is excellent that you have made such a request. out of compassion and affection for sentient beings.
See, that's, so I just mentioned to where's commitments to, that's important. When commitments means then you remember promise I never do again this, means then we remember our commitments. When you know commitments, then you will never remember. See, that's commitments, promise, that's important for individuals.
So Lama is saying it's important for each of us as followers of the Buddha to make commitments, and that commitments are helpful to us because when we make a true commitment to ourselves, to not to do or to do, when we make a true firm commitment to ourselves, it helps us to remember when the occasion arises that where we can practice the commitment that we have just made.
See, that's same thing. The Akshobhya beginning looks like us, but he to commitments never anger. Never anger means never hatred. Even never hatred to negative thoughts. Never do again. That means.
So even though Akshobhya is a Buddha now, Lama's reminding us that Akshobhya started out as a human being. He was a monk, but he started out as a human being like us. And because of his strong commitment to not engage in anger or aggression towards any sentient being, he attained Buddhahood. So not having aggression or anger, Lama is saying, is not to have hate. Hate is a form of aggression and anger, or not to commit any negative acts. That is all part of the commitment that the monk made about aggression and anger.
So then, if we cannot do commitments to this moment to enter enlightenment, that's very difficult. But we can also this month be special month. I will take this month the commitments, never anger or never kill, never steal, never lie. That can be any kind of you to commitments. See, then you pure whole month happened. See, then dedicate. That's this month I did commitments. Everything's good. This virtues benefit to all beings. Likewise, this all beings will become like this. Then for powerful to nobody want to. Sickness, problems, obscuration never happens. See, that's dedicated to beings. See, that can happen. So then again, month after, then a year, 1 year, not life, very difficult. Year, the year commitment, that's good, then I can do life.
The monk, before he became Akshobhya, made the commitment until he reached enlightenment, which Lama said can be quite intimidating and overbearing for us, but he's suggesting that perhaps we could make a commitment to ourselves for a month. And it could be a commitment not to lie, not to steal, not to kill, whatever the commitment might be, we could hold that commitment for a month. And if we can do this for a month, then that month is a very special month. And if we are successful for those 30 days, then we can dedicate the virtue of that, the virtue of having accomplished our commitment for 30 days. We can dedicate that virtue to all sentient beings, thinking that the virtue that we have just acquired or accomplished is also there for other sentient beings, and that it helps to alleviate their sickness, their problems, and make that kind of dedication. And so if we can do a commitment or hold a commitment for 30 days or a month, then Lama's saying, then maybe we could advance to trying to do a commitment or holding a commitment for 1 year.
See, that's, so it depends individuals' strength, enough or not enough. If it's difficult for you, then maybe 1 week, 1 day, but try, try to have it.
So the ability, the intention to make a commitment and to also keep that commitment depends on one's level, one's ability perhaps at this point. And Lama's saying, maybe a month is even too long, then perhaps one day we could try to make a commitment for a 24-hour period. He said we should try that.
So that's anyway, but for that's whatever we commitment, that's one way is temporary to our own benefit, then as a motivation, right, and then countless beings, benefit to beings.
So that commitment and accomplishing a commitment has benefits in two ways. One way is that it certainly benefits ourselves, and the second way is that it can benefit if we dedicate the virtue of having accomplished that commitment. If we dedicate that virtue, we can also then bring benefit. If we dedicate that virtue to other sentient beings, then we are also bringing benefit to them.
So that's for this is name, Buddha's name is Akshobhya, but with Tibetan words Mitupa. Mitupa means never disturbed. Mind. Mitupa means like a piece of rock put there, never moves like that. So that our commitments does never disturb anybody. So that's Mitupa means.
So we are using the name for this Buddha as Akshobhya. That is his name in Sanskrit. In Tibetan, Lama said his name is Mitrugpa, and Mitrugpa means immovable or undisturbed. Lama saying like a rock, it never moves.
So that's for you to commitments are important too. Commitments to you have. So then everything's to your mind not disturbs, no anger, no speech, physical, minds, all activity come from the first right thoughts, right or bad thoughts, everything come from the minds.
So undisturbed for the monk who made that commitment, it's a state of mind. It is the mind that remained undisturbed and immovable from the commitment to not be angry or have aggression towards other sentient beings. And Lama's saying we have our body, we have our speech, and we have our mind. And it is our mind that dictates what we do and what we say. So if we have right thoughts, good thoughts, virtuous thoughts, or we could have virtuous thoughts or we could have bad thoughts, and either of these will create other actions from our body and our speech.
So the body and the speech come from first as a mind's motivator. Mind is to stay, there's never any thoughts. Speech cannot be physical, but nothing do. But first everything come from the mind's thoughts.
So everything that our body does and what comes out of our mouth as speech is created in the mind. So whatever is occurring in one's own mind is what happens on the outside.
So that's the reason, for we as to our Westerns here, Sakadawa and Bumjidawa, there's fasting retreat. Fasting retreat, but then a long time ago, the Buddha taught the enlightened beings, so many beings, no enlightened beings. How come this way? Then later Buddha's idea as for life as ethical morals difficult. So then that short 24 hours, one day, one night, that's fasting, not drinking, not eating, not talking, not bad motivations. That's the new fasting retreat. That's also Buddha's tied to beings, to enlightenment skill.
So Lama is talking about Nuuanu. It is a fasting retreat. And he's talking about it because of commitments, the length of commitments. And Buddha saw that there are so many sentient beings, so many beings that are capable of enlightenment, and why is it that there are so few who attain enlightenment? And so he began the practice which we call in Tibetan Nuuanu, the fasting retreat, where retreatants make the commitment, take a vow to not eat or drink or talk for more than a 24-hour period, but less than 48. Make a commitment overnight, during the day and overnight, not to eat, drink, or speak. And so this was a way for Buddha to train beings to take commitments, and perhaps an easier way to keep them for starting with a short amount of time.